All right, guys, welcome to today's episode of our podcast. It's always wonderful having you here, Sanji. It's always wonderful having very powerful conversations with you and um, giving out to the world, giving out to society. And so, Sanji, tell me, how's your week been?
Uh, Quite good, Simon. There were these programs and these kind of things, and then yeah, some arrangements to be done, new facts of life investigated and like even revealed. So there were many things happening within this time period. How about you?
Well, I have had a very tight week,
Uh-huh.
basically because of the fact that I've been trying to do something. We had a training with a team earlier on in the been trying to refine the processes, refine everything we were trying to do, just so that we can get the necessary result that we desire.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very nice. Now the sound is
So,
very good there.
right here
Now.
we are again trying to give value. So it's a lot to
Uh-huh.
take on at the moment. Um, and we've been talking about the issues of masculinity. And Sanjay, you sent me a very strategic picture that I think maybe in the coming sessions we might have to share with the group. It was pretty amazing when I saw that picture because it gave a description about um gave a description about diversity being misinformed or misinterpreted in this current generation. What do you have to say about that photo you sent to me?
Because it's kind of sad because we have all had like diversity all this time, no, our generations or in different each part of the world we had diversity, and then somebody came from nowhere or somebody, and they said like, oh, this is not possible, and yet like now they are introducing these kind of different diversities, no, and they're telling like each should have their uniqueness and all this, and everybody should have the rights. uh, so, but it's kind of like, why destroy what we already had and then bring this new form of thing, uh, which even doesn't look kind of like helpful, right? Even to a vast society, because those things, those days, like they were helpful for those communities to survive, have unity, health, all these things, and they were considered as primitive, or not, even as non-human even, right? And then yet like in modern era we have brought up specific things as diversity, but it doesn't suit everybody, or it doesn't like, in some extents, like it doesn't even like it doesn't look ethical, or like uh, uh, and it seems like it's like their desires and all things are like taken to the maximum level on the cost of other people's lives.
Hmm.
How do you think about them, Simon?
Well, the thing is, um, when the agenda behind the agenda, or when the motive behind the agenda is selfish, if it's self-centered, it has a tendency of going extreme, and anything that goes extreme has a tendency of being detrimental or damaging the whole system, right? When a group of people say, "Oh, it's about us," it tends to always be extreme because they want to take things. Oh, we are being marginalized, or people are being misogynistic. Most times, it's a group of people coming together that do not really understand the scope of things in a general view. It's just their selfish, personal, materialistic desire finding expression through some sort of agendas. And yeah, it will always be detrimental. People will always have to like take it beyond just to get their attention, right? Holding parties in the street, a certain group of people holding parties on the street, blocking the roads, and they're trying to get the attention of the government, trying to get the attention of the people. If it is a right thing, you have to give it time, you have to be patient. But you are trying to get so much attention and cause so much chaos because your perspective is it's really selfish. So when there's selfishness at the motive level, it tends to be quite detrimental.
Yeah, so true.
So in continuing what we've been talking about around masculinity and you know the question today is the very first question today is
You answer it, okay? Or we let Faith answer it.
Hey, but this one is quite personal. It has to be
Yeah,
it's a
come on,
dire.
huh?
So tell me, what emotion were you told as a man by maybe your mom, by maybe your elders, by your father? What emotions were you told um, to keep silent? What emotions were you told not to express as a man?
For in our childhood, it was mostly like anger, and even if it was so something wrong, like we were not able to express it, but then we would try to express it in somewhere else, right? So mostly it was like anger, and yeah, like some father in a way, like he was saying, like you have to be tough and all these things, which kind of like is okay because it is a place like you have to be in a sense of you have to have some strength also, no? But mostly I feel like uh, so then as a child you start becoming destructive. If you can, I'm just telling my personal thing. It can be anything for anybody, no? So maybe we each share what we have, no? What happened. So then I found myself, I'm telling that when I was a very small kid, no? Then uh, I had no way of like putting it out. Then when you become teenage and all, it becomes even worse because you don't have a clue of the world and all these things, and no, and can even fall into fights and these kind of things also. So so there was no proper vent or like place like that, and you were disciplined like you should not show your anger or put out your anger, no, for even like righteous proper reasons, or even to show that you don't you disagree about it. So that was one of the biggest things I had. How about you, Simon?
Hmm. For you was anger. Ha. Mine was not allowed to show any emotions at all.
Uh,
I because of my upbringing, I wasn't. If you cry, you get beaten more for crying, for being say you get beaten and you cry, you get beaten more for crying. You're not allowed to you're not allowed to express your anger. So I had lots of suppressed emotion growing up. It was a lots of suppressed emotion growing up. So I really didn't know what it felt like to be free. I really didn't know what it felt like to express myself. And I am an empath, right? So instead of that actually silencing my empathic side, what it finally did for me was the empathicness grew from within. I became a very strong empath to the point where I could get into the room and I could look at people and understand what they were feeling. I could have an idea what people are going through. So being having suppressed emotion gave me a lot of time to stay in my head. and stay enough. Since I couldn't express it, I needed to stay more with it. I needed to stay more with it. And in staying more with it, I began to develop more the struggles, the difficulties, the challenges. I fought a lot of battles internally that didn't actually allow me just lose out on everything that I had, because the world was trying to just keep it out, kill it, and oh, this is bad emotion, oh, this is bad thing, oh, this is not good thing, oh, this is dangerous thing. But nobody gave me the room to say, oh, this is painful thing, maybe I should say something about it. Oh, this is annoying, maybe I should speak up. I didn't have the room to do that, so I bottled it up. And when I had the chance, I would cry alone,
Mhm.
console myself, um, encourage myself. So it was, everything was happening to me. So I started becoming aware of how I felt. That's what made me very deep. I call myself a radical empath.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's my situation. So Faith, tell us about your situation.
Mhm.
Hi, Sanjay.
Hello.
Okay, for me, it's not necessarily an emotion, it was an action. And as a child, I was very energetic and expressive. I always want to speak. If I have an idea, I want to share the idea
Mhm.
immediately. I want to talk about it. I want to give life to it. So I was always talking. Like, I was literally a blabbermouth, but for good reasons. So I was always told to keep quiet, that I talk too much. And that action till today still have effect on me negatively, because I grew up with wonderful people and a wonderful environment where I had to learn how to control what I say, although they tried in their best possible way to help, but I don't think they did it in a constructive manner. So it did affect me today. That's mine.
Wow. So that's really deep, because I believe we've all been there where we're told like suppress how we feel, and suppress how we feel, and not give life to how we feel, because you get to some places where they tell you emotions are not emotions. You don't live on emotions, you don't live your life off of emotions. But really, I beg to differ. Emotions are there as an indicator for us to hear or see what our brain or what our psyche wouldn't naturally tell us. There's a part of our life that is actually emotive. Intuition sometimes is not psychological. Intuition is emotional. Intuition doesn't have a literal explanation, but you just know. It's a knowingness. And most times, the knowingness comes through a feeling. So sometimes when we say, oh, don't give attention to your emotion, we are actually saying, numb your psyche, numb your intuitive capacity, or numb your intuitive personality. What do you say about that, Sandy?
Yeah. So, yeah, as per expression, we should be like even Faith said, no, like people should conduct in a very positive way and be able to express. So even people express through music and art and these kind of forms, no, even their frustrations or anger, even they express it, no, even maybe through some sport, even, no. So
Mm-hmm.
or like not sport means like through some exercise or something like that. Or dance or things like that. There are so many ways of expression, but here, like especially back in the day, or like or with people who didn't know actually. Uh, e- Even in school, you see this sometimes, no? Because sometimes the teacher has to deal with so many students, or if they are also in a bad situation or mood, uh, they cannot look into each student as there, but some need actually help, or they're going through something, and that's why the aggression or something is happening, no? Not because they are totally bad or something. There's something always behind that, and then like proper teachers or anybody or coaches or anybody, they should know how to like put it out, no, like finding ways of putting that frustration or all these things out. It's like in a way it's like a good doctor, no? uh, if there's a wound or infected wound, uh, they have to put the pus out, but they
mm,
don't like put it everywhere in a way like, or you have to cut off the arm, or they find a specific place, and then they, even if it hurts at first, but it's supposed to be a cure. uh, so, and they try to use the least amount of pain uh, associated, and but still, because it can be it can have its own pain, no, for that person. So
mm,
yeah, surely, like we should be able to find ways for ourselves as well as the others to express, not violently or aggressively like that, or hurting some oneself or the other, but they should be able to
mm,
put out. And just by talking, in ancient times it says like uh, Arya means like noble, huh? Virechana means like you put it out, like somebody talks some toxins, no, they throw it up, no. They
mm,
try to remove it from the body, from either side or through the sweat or anywhere, no. So likewise, the thing, like at least talk it out or discuss about it, or do that also makes a difference. So if
mm,
we even, they say like there are some, if you can just pinch it out from your tip of your nails, why wait till you have to chop it down with the axe? More than
mm,
they maybe chainsaw, right? No? So some you can just trim it off, or uh, just pluck it off with your fingertips. So if we
mm,
know, or even our parents or teachers or responsible ones, uh, they know how to just pluck it off in the subtler stages, they can stop a lot of things from happening.
mm,
Then you need bigger tools, no? Later on, because that also starts growing.
mm. Wow, I love that perspective.
Mhm.
Um, it goes to show that um, we have to be careful what we plant. Uh, that way, it, we tend to have um, more healthy tree growing, and it will be easier to pluck off the negatives. But when we have so much negative growing with the tree, it even becomes more difficult for the right tree to grow or right fruit to be produced out of the tree as healthy as it ought to be. And that's on an emotional level. And I love the fact when you talk about the toxins. Now, still in that line of thought, um, tell me, Sanjay, as a man, what was the greatest counsel you got from your father about masculinity? What was the greatest advice? What was the greatest lesson? What is that one that about masculinity?
About masculinity. Yeah, our father was very strict and tough. So, yeah, he was all. Yeah, yeah. How to say, like he was like waving his swords and spears and all the time. So you had like, okay, like, and so you always got like lessons of masculinity, even too much of it. And so yeah, he was like trying, like you gotta be like, okay. So yeah, there was, but yeah, there were some good things, like he showed to help people, and then he used to do, like even within his job, uh, he used to the people who came to him, he would feed them, he would like look after them, and then even give their bus fare and all these things, and send them away, and he would not
mm,
profit. So there are good things also we saw, because he can be the strong person there, and then because he was in charge of that place, no, and he could have like got their money. These were innocent people in faraway places, and then some places they had just, we didn't kill them or anything, but they had like traded chickens for the service he gave, because they didn't have money to offer, or yeah, some vegetables or these kind of things. So when we went to his quarters and all, there were like chickens and all these animals. And we are like, where did you get all this, no? And then these are people, but he could have earned and he could have done, but he in a way he didn't say like, you are do this, but he showed by action.
mm,
He had his negatives and positives, but yeah, but most of the time, like there were a lot of like masculine trends that were shown again and again to us.
mm,
So yeah, and then it lead to aggression also at times, because we
mm,
follow the father, no, like what we should do, and so when you're interacting, like we went to a boys only college, so it's just boys, no. So it's like these are guys, no. So we could just start a fight at any point, no. So even if it's kids, like they say, like okay, grab hold of the other one's ear if possible, and they should start, but not like very violent or something like that. But it was always there, right? Uh, so in a way, it was helpful to cope up with the things. But now, after over the years, I wouldn't say it's like all healthy and all these kind of things. Not everything was healthy, you know.
mm,
What did you get, or how did you see things happening?
mm. Wow. So I didn't have an early experience of fatherhood kind of
Mhm.
masculinity.
Uh-huh.
Um, I lost my dad at a very tender age,
Oh,
so
sorry.
he wasn't to show me the ropes. But I later got to meet someone in my late older years that
Mm-hmm.
started showing me what masculinity or what it means to be a man. And one of the things I learned from my mentor was um, men take responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
He taught me to take responsibility by taking responsibility. And
Mm-hmm.
I hear you say the same thing about your dad. He taught you to show care by showing care. So it's
Mm-hmm.
an action. From that, it just means that men are more action oriented in their teaching practice than they would use words. So, and you said he taught you how to cope in difficult times. Yes, my mentor did the same thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
He taught me how to cope by coping through difficulties. My mentor taught me how to cope, and it was for me a life changing experience. I had been coping, but I didn't really know how to cope. I couldn't teach someone else how to cope. I just knew, okay, life throws hard knocks at you, crack it, and get whatever is in it for yourself. But I couldn't bring that experience to someone else and say, okay, this is how you learn to cope. But my mentor gave me that guide. So he was the father figure for
Bigger.
me and
Uh-huh.
helped my. So tell me, were you ever emotionally punished for being soft or being sensitive?
Emotionally, yeah, yeah, like because there were things like boy should be like how boy should be, and even in school times, like if you become soft and all, then the other guys like it's like they are walking all over you, you know. So. Uh, it is tough in a way. Like you try to be good, and then somebody like comes and like, do you have any money? No, like, or something like that. The when you act even like tough, they don't bully you, right? So even if you don't like it, sometimes you have to act like you are like really aggressive or something like that, just to get them off. Uh, so, but it has a toll on your mind, no, and emotions. And sometimes there were times like I didn't even like things like anger and these things like really uh, tormenting my mind. And there were times like I wish like I didn't know those meditations or anything. No, at that time I had no clue. So I was just thinking like, what if this could be erased from our minds? And yeah, there were instances like uh, when you try to be in a soft place, or you try to be like bring up things like compassion or something, and then somebody like thinks you are a fool or idiot, no? And then yeah, it also happens, right? You try to help, and then they laugh at you, or like, oh, they try to trick you, or they trick you, and then you become like a idiot, or they then after that they keep joking about it also. So and then yeah, those days it was like you don't know what to do then, no? And you are just maybe a kid or young person, and then you don't know, and then what should I do? Like should I confront this person or no? Like uh, over the years we got to know how to like counter these, or like not have too much expectations, you know, and all, but we help, but we don't want something in return. This all these things, but those days we didn't know, we just would do, and then when it comes backfires or something, you are clueless. No, so like that, when there were places like when you try to be soft, it had a negative impact. How
Wow.
about you, Simon?
Right. I think I can say the same thing for myself. In this, we had the same experience because, like I told you, I am an empath. I like to put myself in people's situation and put myself in people's shoe and say, oh, if I was the one going through this, how would I do it? And what would I do? And I look at people and I'm seeing people going through difficulty. I put myself in that situation. And sometimes people take advantage of it. They take advantage of kindness, they take advantage of your softness. Sometimes, when I was still in secondary school, they would mock at you and say, oh, you behave like a woman. But I felt in order to behave like a man, I had to try to like silence my emotional side. You know, man, don't talk to me anyhow. And it was so bad in my situation that I had a tiny voice, and I was very small. So I had a tiny voice, like a woman's voice. So sometimes people talking, oh, who is the woman speaking? And then they turn and then they see me. And I'm like, hello, how are you doing? And they're like, you're behaving like a woman, you talk like a woman. And I started trying to make my voice bold. So sometimes I'm speaking, I'm like, hello, how are you doing? It wasn't really me. It was I was trying to conform to the fact that, oh, you're not allowed to be emotional, you're not allowed to talk like this. But the truth is that was me. And by not living the way I wanted to live, I started um disconnecting myself from my true identity. I started trying to be like the boys. Started trying to do like the boys. When I could have understood, if I knew now, I could have understood that how I speak, or being an empath, or having to feel for people, does not make me weak, does not make me any less of a man. It just makes me a kind of man. separate from every other person, my nature, my sensitivity, and everything. Because my experience made me, uh, formed me into what I was. So, denying my experience would be denying my identity or denying a part of my life. And I didn't know that because there was nobody to guide me or tell me that I could do differently. So, yeah, that's how it felt like. I was really soft and sensitive, and people took advantage of it separately and mocked me for it separately. And I think now I am leaning more into my sensitivity because now it's defining the work I do. I get into my coaching conversations with my clients. A client of mine asked me, and the client said, how is it that you are able to identify how people feel without them saying anything?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that word, I've been thinking about it since the time, the client said it to me. But it's the truth because I am an empath. I'm able to look at you, see what you're not saying, understand what you're feeling that you don't know how to express. Because sometimes when it's a feeling, you can't give it word.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're able to understand how someone is feeling and give a word to it, that's powerful. That's powerful. And now I can lean into it and say it's powerful. But then, nah, it wasn't really like that. It was more like I was being guilt tripped every time, made to feel like I was bad or I was irregular or abnormal. Right.
Mm. Let's ask from a ladios and see how,
Yes. Faith, go ahead.
Uh,
How are you? What was your experience? Were you ever emotionally punished for being soft or for being sensitive?
Okay, I think that's actually impossible because I'm a female, so we're expected to be emotional, and we're actually punished for not being emotional. So let's say something happens and you're expected to have this remorsefulness on your face and it's not there. You're being punished for not being soft and start crying and start begging. But have I ever been punished for being emotional? Hmm. Nah, I doubt. I doubt. I had the liberty to express my thoughts, and I think the only time I was scolded for it was when it was a bit excessive. And I hurt deeply, and most times it takes time for me to let go. So I think that's the only time. But in general, being emotional, nah. But I have seen ladies being punished for not being emotional. So that's it for me.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. The thing is, ladies are expected to be more emotional, and men are expected to be more robotic. It's. I'm not saying there shouldn't. In we too, as men, we're allowed to feel, we're allowed to express. So it's actually where the balance is that we have to look at. Men are allowed to express that. Most times you get mocked by both men and women for being emotional as a man. It's really funny, right? And then the woman is being less emotional. It's an imbalance of some sort. But yeah. So last question for today, Sanjay. Who shaped your emotional world more? Is it your mother or your father or your pain and experiences? What shaped your emotional world the most?
I would say the pain and the experiences. Yeah, I know they also brought experiences, uh, but I would say like uh, whatever I got through the years or decades afterwards was that really like helped me to a place like where I feel kind of like satisfied and a place where I feel like not that I have anything against them, but I feel like it brought the individuality within me. There was like plenty of painful incidents or experiences, but though through those experiences, for example, like when you go through hardships, you don't want the other person to feel those hardships. So it was like the opposite, not like I went through this, you also have to do. Luckily, it was not the thing for me, and it turned it in the opposite side actually. If I went through something in a training or anything like that, I didn't want to put the others into that. Maybe I had to go through very rough patch, but the thing was like I was trying to make it better for the people who came later on, or you make something, or no, like some establishment or something. I didn't want to like harass them, say like, oh, I was the one who did this and all, and then you have to like learn, or you have to like kneel on kneel and try to walk like a kilometer or something just to feel the pain. So luckily, it was the opposite for me, and I think like that structured things and um, there's a lot of learning and a lot of more experience. And no, I'm not perfect or anything, but I think that helped me a lot. In a way, I can even help somebody also in some way or another. And more than the parents' influence, also, I think the later uh, the experiences and the pains are the ones that kind of like molded me to
Mm,
where I am today. But there's still like a journey and everything there. No? So, and
mm,
learning plenty of things to learn.
mm.
But I would say as such, they also taught me something, but I think the real things came afterwards. How?
Wow. And I think that's the same with my case. It was more of the experience, really. It was more of the pain, more of the stress, more of the struggle, more of the victories gotten from all the difficulties that you go through. And then you circle back at some point and you're like, I can't allow someone else go through what I've been through,
Mhm,
right? I have to end this cycle of pain, the cycle of rejection, the cycle of struggle, the cycle of not being taken advantage of. I have to, at some point, I have to come and hold the baton for someone else to be able to have an ease or a pass of entry with less and minimal emotional baggage. But here's the thing that I've been thinking about recently. Okay, and this like the last question is this one is off the chart.
mhm,
Um, so we've seen what's happening in the society right now, where we have more men transitioning to women,
mhm,
right? And we don't want to address it head on. We'll be talking about that in as we subsequently move in our podcast. We will be talking about it, and I don't care. We'll have to be very straight and honest about it. But um, the question is the is not allowing men be strong affect, because when we say men ought to be emotional, now these men are emotional and they are very much emotional and they are transitioning. So they feel, oh, I have so much emotion now, I'm a woman, let's go transition and become a woman. But is it okay that the emotional side of men are allowed to express itself and now it's leading to more men transitioning? Or is it because of the difficulty of being a man that they're transitioning? So it's a lot going on in my head. I'm asking myself, so I'm asking you now, what do you say?
mhm. Yeah. Uh, we can say in a way each individual has the right to do anything but they want, no? But the
Mm,
only thing is like it makes many other persons with lot of question marks. And
mm,
if it was a child and all, say my father suddenly becomes my, my mother or something. Not even my mother, no? because he would never be my mother, no, because my mother is the one who brought me to life, no. He helped, but he doesn't have a womb or anything, no. So
mm,
he'll never be my mother, no. Though he even has a sex change, if he had, no, he didn't. But I'm just telling, no. And if my sister wanted to be a brother, but it's not my brother. No, they can call themselves my brother, but no, no, like, yeah. So if she
yeah,
try to do everything, no, possible to seem like my brother, but I don't know, and I don't know whether it's right even. No, like, okay, I can say if you really want, but it's no, you don't get it. So it leaves with lot of question marks, right? And then if it's a child, okay, we are adults and still we have these question marks, you know? Like we'll be scratching our heads and like looking around. So the thing is like we don't know what is like where's the line here and how it should be, you know? Yeah, they can do anything like take the hormones and cut themselves up and then try to change stuff. Huh? So, but we are talking about the emotion side. So each individual have to decide according to their situation, backgrounds, no? Like it's difficult to think like if somebody is depending on us and then they seek protection or like assurance or something, and if we start like crying out loud, like like tears all the time, bucket full of tears and all, like they would like think, like, oh, like this guy is like a crybaby. Now maybe I wear a diaper or something to this and put a teeth on in like a milk bottle or something in his mouth, no? So,
mm,
but we can have those special moments with a special person, but we cannot do it all the time, right? Uh,
mm,
Say somebody's coming and your significant other is like offended or something, no? Or somebody's coming to our property and all. We don't want to fight and like kill each other, but we have to stand up, right? We cannot cry, oh, like
mm.
somebody's coming to our property, you know, like, oh no, or like, oh, that guy tried to do something bad to you. I feel so bad. And we cannot start crying, no? Uh, we have to stand up and no, like even if we get the beating, but still we have to go, right? Uh, so, for
Mm.
example, like if there's a war in the country, like many men are like enrolled, right? More than the females even. You see in the modern day
Yes.
wars and all, the females, I'm not against them or anything, right? Nobody should go into any kind of situation. But you see, like in those countries, like the females are allowed to go, and the men, even if they are elderly, they have to stay. Uh, and even in First World War, Second World War, all these wars that happened, more men were enrolled. Not that females were not there. Nobody should go to war,
Mm,
definitely. It's a horrible thing. But you can see, you know, and if they start crying when the enemies are coming, how it be, you know, they'll, no. So they cannot. There are some places like you have to act up, no, and
yes.
be that specific role, right? For example, even if you are in a job, you have to be there. No, you cannot start crying there, right? Even if it's a lady, right? And if they're always crying, come on, nothing will be done. No, maybe from the company funds, you buy boxes and boxes of tissues. Uh,
Mm,
so you have to. So you can use the term man up, or but now they use the term woman up even because there are ladies who are very strong, right? They lead like by action and all, and then they take a whole driving force, right, with them.
mm,
So I think really by changing your outer uh, physicality, it doesn't solve the thing or the problem.
mm,
And you cannot, okay, for example, I'll tell you the highest divorce rates are not with like a normal couple. Now they say like highest divorce rates are with lesbian couples.
mm,
Huh? So okay, like these all different genders and all, they remove it. And they then try to put like this is like a place like the same kind of genders, right? but they have the highest rate of. Uh, so it is like the personality or like the individual. Uh, and they should find a balance within themselves where they have to stand up for something. Uh, so say like if a person feels bad and they change the gender, you see the people complaining on online and all, no? I felt
mm,
bad, or I felt they come on some particular platforms and they like say from A to Z of everything, right? And they say like, I had this tag on me, and then the little child, a preschool child maybe, didn't recognize me. Or they didn't know. I feel so offended, they say. Uh, So this is a child, right? How does the child know, like,
mm,
what pronouns or
mm,
what you are using, right? They might call you even an animal's name or their pet's name, right?
mm,
This is a child, no? But if you are getting offended by that, there's something to think or consider, no? And
yeah,
taking hormones or changing your gender doesn't really solve the problem. No?
mm,
So, and crying out also really doesn't help all the time, even if it's a female, right? They cannot
yeah,
always, there are females who have to be very strong. Some are single mothers, no, the father just left them, and she's carrying all the weight in the world, and she has to protect her children. She's like a lioness in the forest, no?
yeah,
So she's protecting her children, and all these people might try and come and take advantage of her. uh, Try to turn her like to a sex worker. There are people who avoid or like they stand up to all those things, uh, and they protect their children, and like they are very strong. Not they are rich because they are rich or anything. They do sometimes very simple jobs even. But they are decent and super strong and no nonsense. No, there are people like that. Even no,
mm,
even ladies.
mm,
So if they start, yeah, surely they might be feeling the pain and all this hardship. No, nothing is easy, but they don't like cry out everywhere, no?
mm,
So as a man, also, I think they have to know when and where to stand up, where to let it go, and even putting out the emotions.
mm.
What do you think?
I think that's very profound, Sanji, because I've been thinking about it, saying, oh, allow men feel, allow yourself to become very emotional. No, where the problem is in the very. You are allowed to be emotional, but you're not allowed to be very emotional as a man, really, because no extreme. I am always looking at balance whenever I talk about these things because these are sensitive ground where you could say, "Oh, be emotional. You have to feel. You have to allow yourself feel like you're feeling or express what you're feeling." It's true. You have to allow yourself express what you're feeling, but you have to know what to express and what not to express, right? And I say this: emotion is not a problem. Feeling emotion is not a problem. Even expressing emotion is not a problem. How you express emotion is what matters, right? So, oh, I feel stressed. We all feel stressed. Okay, I feel overwhelmed. We all get there sometimes and we feel overwhelmed. And you gave an example where you say, oh, I take by this pronoun and I feel bad when you call me something different and a child calls you something different. The child doesn't know and you feel bad. That's to tell us that there's a problem beyond the pronouns. It's a personal identity problem because if somebody calls you what you're not, what you say you're not, you shouldn't accept it. It's not, there's no big deal, right? It's a personal identity problem. So it's beyond how I feel. It's who are you? It's an identity challenge. And when you say it that way, it makes me understand that, okay, although we have to express how we feel, we have to know what to express. And better still, when I talk about emotion, I rather talk about emotion from the standpoint of healing hurt and healing burden so you can be more efficient. Because some of us were carrying baggages, bagloads of emotions, negative emotions here and there at this affecting our productivity, affecting our creativity, affecting our work, affecting our relationship, communication with our family. When I talk about emotion, it's not even, oh, I'm going to express, I'm going to cry. It's, I'm going to heal from everything that is hurting me and hindering me from producing results. I'm going to heal and let go of everything that is affecting me and affecting my family. So I need to be able to heal as a child. Now that I'm a father, I need to be able to heal from my childhood so that I can train my children well and give them a better childhood. It's not like, oh, I'm going to have this emotion and when my children mess up, I'm going to beat them. No, it's I'm going to heal from the beating I received from my parents so that I can treat my children well. And that doesn't take us to another extreme of I'm not going to beat my children. I'm not going to touch them. I'm not going to correct them. I'm not going to scold them. No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying you should know when it is an extreme. Too much gentility in the context of training children without scolding them, you spoil them naturally when they do something bad. And you're like, don't do it again. Don't Right. They will do it again because the children, they want to see actions, right? They want to see you take actions and say, hey, you be stern. You don't have to raise your hand every time, but you be stern. Don't do it again. This thing is wrong. And they do it again. This thing is wrong. The next time it's fine to spank them a little bit, but don't spank them too hard. Because saying, oh, I don't want the child to be this, I don't want the child. You're going to spoil the child, and the child is going to go spoil another child, and the society is going to be spoiled. And they're going to point fingers back to the parents and say, you didn't train your children well. And you say, oh, no, I'm not I'm training my children like this because they beat me. I don't want to beat them. They did wrong. Correct them. So it's actually finding where the balance is in all of this. Speaking when you should speak, being quiet when you should be quiet, crying when you need to cry. When it's overwhelming, it's okay to let go of it. We don't say cry in public. You have a coach. They're trained to unearth this kind of emotions and burdens and allow you speak with them and you express yourself. But after that time, you're not expected to continue crying for 2 days or 3 days or 1 month. You're expected to heal from that and go be more productive than you were before the call or before the session. Right. So it's the balance for me. It's the balance, Andy.
Oh, wonderful.
With that,
Uh-huh. Yeah, thank you for sharing, Simon. Faith, would
yeah.
you like to share about all these or previous questions, even if you have like
No, I'm good.
okay. Oh, like things like who shaped you, emotional, was it your father, mother? Those kind of questions are also very nice, no? Or like, yeah.
They are very nice questions, but I have not consciously thought about them. But
Who molded
I
you? Like,
think
who was your inspiration, or like to get to where you are?
I think everything that has happened to me in life, my dad, my mom, my environment, the school I attended growing up, the people I have encountered, all of them, my religion. So it's not just one event or one person. I am still growing. And if we are to look back at the foundation, I would say, okay, my parents, but amongst both of them, who shaped me emotionally, I can't tell. I think both of them did equal jobs, like they tried, both of them.
And what do
Wow.
you think? Like, sorry, Simon, just one. Like the last question, because we would like to know, because it's like a men's show here, right? So, if like a lady also would like to speak, you can. This is open space, no, Simon? So we are not trying
Yes.
to offend nobody or anything like that. But some might say, "Oh, look, those two guys were like they were just like talking, like uh, what do they know?" No, so if a lady could also put her viewpoints, it will be very nice, Faith. Oh, what do you?
That's true.
Uh-huh. What do you think about this, especially Simon's last question about? Uh, could you please repeat the question, Simon, please?
So my question is around the fact that uh, um, in the bid of saying men should be more emotional, we're raising men who cannot withstand challenges. And in the bid of saying women are too emotional, they are now becoming too logical. And oh, feminism this, feminism this. And then there's this side and saying masculinism, masculinism. So it's the goal shouldn't be a conflict, right? But what we are having, because there's a division of perspective, it's we're having a conflict. So my question is, where is the balance? How do we balance it? How do we how do we raise a generation of men that are balanced enough to speak when they should speak, or women who should be logical when it needs to? I'm not saying they shouldn't be more emotional, it's fine, but there are certain things that require logic, right? Very simple, basic things that require logic, and you should apply as a human being. That's what differentiates you from an animal who's just acting instinctively. So we're not like that. We have to be reasonable and we have to be emotional. It's a balanced equation. So how do we create this balance?
Mhm. Faith, would you please like to answer?
Okay, I believe that came from the fact that there was a communication issue in family. In what sense? The men became too logical that their wives had no idea what was in the mind of their husbands. Very few, very few were able to deal with that. And the women, because they focus on their emotions so much, they couldn't save their husbands from making terrible mistakes if they had applied their own logical view or logical sense. So, in a bid to want to correct that communication issue, uh, a lot of people started talking about men being more expressive and women be more logical. I don't know how the wave started. I don't know who started that wave, but I choose to believe that it came from couples and not single individuals. Couples who had issues, communication issues in their marriages. So gradually it seeped into the entire society. The balance is still communication. The balance is still communication. Like Simon rightly said, I'll not be comfortable to see a man who is behaving like a sissy just because there's an excuse of him being expressive. And as a man, talk, be expressing. And the question is, to who are you this vulnerable? Is it to your wife? Is it to your mother? Is it to your partner? In what sense? Your girlfriend, your fiance, who is intended to be your wife? Or are you vulnerable to everybody? They scold you at the office, you start crying publicly, you start yelling that whatever they are doing is having a terrible effect on your mental health. You start, you can't withstand any little pressure. An incident occurs, let's say, well, we're currently in West Africa, Nigeria to be precise, and most times there's power issue, power outage, and just say a power outage occurs and you throw a tantrum like a child. You start complaining about unnecessary things that you could just ignore. That is not what being a man that is expressive should be. It was in a bid to fix communication issue in marriages that came up. Women understand understand more when you communicate to them emotionally. Men understand more when you communicate to them logically. So a woman wants her husband to tell her, I am sad. This is why I am sad. When they see that physically he is not looking good, his expression is not looking good. But because these men were not taught that their emotions are important, their emotions are valid, and these are the kind of people that they should share it with, they don't know how to communicate this to their spouse. That's my 2 cents.
Sanjay, she rightly made some strategic statement about I think I talked about it earlier. It's in the application. Um, Emotional balance, more expression from men. It's in the application. Um, we don't want men that cry in boardroom. We want men who speak up in boardroom. But we don't want husband that cannot say, I am down. We want husbands that can say, I am stressed. So it's knowing when to apply what and creating a balance around that. What do you say, Sanjay?
I totally agree with both of you. So it's very nice to get the perspective of all sides, so, all the directions, all ideas, views, ideology, everything, and practicality mostly. So yeah, that should be the way. And I still believe like it is up to each individual. Either if, even it's a lady. Like they should be strong at times, and then they can put out their. But if they go here and they are like crying about, that also makes like drama or chaos, no? Or like uh, you see like some videos, even like elderly ladies, they act so chaotic or bring drama, and some people have videoed it and put it on online even, and they
Mm,
make mockery or like they make themselves these are like senior citizens, right?
mhm,
So even if it's a female or lady, they also should know where to stand up, know where to like be, and then uh, so each according to their personality, they should know when to be strong, when to be like no, when to express. Uh, so the balance should be within, and then within a relationship or community or like work environment. Yeah, and like
mm,
like Faith said, no, like the leader can they have to sometimes show by example.
mm,
That makes the motivation, right, for the others.
mm,
So if they see the leader, oh, like say the boss or somebody of that establishment, if
mm,
they see them crumbling, the others also crumble because they look
mm,
toward that person. If it's a father, that's why he's called a father figure, no? If it's a mother, the children look up to her as being a mother, and then maybe the female or the girls, they look up how to become a better by themselves also, or a good lady. uh, the
mm,
the boys might look towards their father, and usually they say like even if the genders are switched, like they say I want to marry somebody like my mother, uh, or who was similar if their mother was a good role model, right? And usually the girls say
mm,
someday I want to find somebody who is similar to our father's qualities, so no things like that, because she
mm,
felt protected by him. The
mm,
assurance and everything was there. He was caring for her, no? Uh, so, and the son felt the care of the mother. Uh, so, just like, no, but when these functionalities of society and the uh, systems or collapse, then people start finding wayward solutions.
mm,
they have the self-control, all these things. So like they don't even know where to express. Uh, that's why we see people crying out on online, right? For recognition or like no, just to get admiration or anything like that.
Mm.
Just for the likes and the views, maybe. So if they had somebody or if they knew where to actually put it out, maybe it would be better. Maybe, but people who put them out also doesn't seem to have like successful lives. Uh,
Mm.
so there you can see the damage which was done, no?
Mm.
So yeah, I totally agree with both of what both of you said.
Thank you so much, Sanjay. So right now, we'll move into the meditation practice of the day. How do we calm ourselves and become more collected, become more present in the everyday?
Uh-huh. Okay, then I will do some meditation. Uh, Please sit comfortably and then just try to relax. Just move your shoulders, hands, arms. You can do this in laying down posture or before you go to bed or if you are tired. Just like somebody threw a piece of cloth and then it slowly comes down and settles down. Likewise, just let yourself settle down. Or if somebody tossed some leaves and they would on their own accord they would come and settle down. Just let you and just ease out all the muscles if possible. And then use the breath to settle down even more. Like if somebody was running and they suddenly stop, the breathing helps them to settle down. Even the heart rate, the sweat, all these things. And then slowly they settle down or even they sit down sometimes. And little by little, the breathing becomes softer and softer or lighter and lighter. So when we do it intentionally, the same kind of process happens, but we were not very active even, but our mind was very active. So just take a breath from the nostrils and slowly exhale from the mouth. There are some very ancient chants like things that actually these are like universal words, they say. So for example, if you take a deep breath, uh, see like your place where you are and who is around. So you just take a deep breath and it goes like with A, O, and M. Okay? You take a deep breath. Just see how your surrounding is, and you can try this out here or later on if you want, or do it in a low pitch. So you take a deep breath and keep it in. And when you are exhaling, the first part is like A or a O, sorry. O, and then the middle part is a and the last part is a M. Mm. Oh. Take a deep breath. Like we don't want to scare nobody or anything like that. So just see your place where they are. But you can do it in a low pitch even if you want. So take a deep breath. And the first part is like oh. One more time we'll try, yeah? Take a deep breath. First one is a O, the middle part is a A, and the last part is a M. Breathing in. Om. Sometimes when you do this, we feel so connected with everything. This is considered as a universal word or a universal sound. And then slowly we can focus on our body and just get to know all parts of your body. Put your attention as if you take a sponge or a towel and you're like slowly massaging parts of your body, even with closed eyes. And just to get the feel of who you are physically. Today we had another nice discussion about identity or identification or losing self-identity. So this also relates in a way. So put your attention parts of your body and feel your presence there. The neck region, the shoulders, the arms. If you want, you can use one of your hands and then touch and slowly move on parts of your body and feel. And the parts like back and all, you just feel with your mind. Or how the fabric of your clothing, or if you are seated, how the chair is touching the body. And in the lower parts of the body, or even right up to the fingertips, you can slowly move your fingertips, touch your hands by with your own hands the surface. Then the lower part of your body also you can feel. You can pat with your own hands, maybe the upper part of your legs, the knees. Just a gentle tap or just a feel by yourself. And then you feel the lower part of your legs. And even you can feel the touch of the floor, or if you're seated on a couch or some bed or some place, or even the fabric of your clothing touching this surface of your body. And just know the whole body, the whole presence. You can do it a couple of times, like head to feet if needed. Then if possible, slowly move to your heart region. And if you feel a little bit even comfortable, just stay there for some time. And if you can recollect from this childhood, just you, not the incidents or anything, from whichever part you remember, slowly move from there until now. From whichever part you remember, doesn't matter. And it could be just like not exact memories or anything, but doesn't matter. Whichever memories you have, but just about you, like your physicality or your body or the image you saw in a picture or the mirror, or when you look down, how you saw your body. But don't mix anything like external rather than that. This is just to recognize yourself, identify. Just walk that child along the memory lane, but don't mix anything else. Huh? And in the younger times, when you were a teen, and then slowly the adult times, and all the way right up to now. And just think of some good thing you did. Maybe many good things can come to your mind. That's also fine. In this physical form, or as a child, as a teenager, just try to remember any good thing, or it could be multiple, even doesn't matter. What directly comes into your mind. And see how the happiness after all these years, maybe it still brings. And you were that good person who did it, who made it happen. And just think to yourself, may I be free from any kind of stress. May I be happy. May I not have any mental pain. May I not have any physical pain. May I live happily and peacefully with that incident or many incidents together. Just bring that good person out. And just see, like, with all the things happening, with all this experience in this life, now where you are as this person. And think of all the good you can do for the future. Now being more mature, with more experiences, and just to know, like, it's not even being a woman or a man, it's the goodness of the mind, the goodness of the heart, the soul. That is the uniqueness, that is the identification, that is the beauty. And you can proudly say, I am such a person. I am a person who had done this good deed. And I am a person who can do all these good things. Now to sharpen our mindfulness, awareness, the healthy mind. Let's focus on the breath and make it a little bit sharper. Focus on the normal breath with the tip of your nose to the upper lip region. If you want, take a few initial breaths intentionally, but feel the touch from this particular area going into the nostrils, and when the air is coming out of the nostrils, touching this area and going out of the body. And focus on that area. First, you can take a few intentional breaths, then focus on the natural breath. This is very soothing as well as very powerful and very strengthens anybody. Strengthens the mind, strengthens the soul, strengthens the character. Build positive minds. Just focus on the breath, but do it in a very relaxed, very casual way. We just have to let the mind be with the meditation object only. Doesn't matter even if you fall asleep, you can relax. And before bed, you can do this. You can have very good sleep. And actually, this is like a meter. When the breath is subtle, that means you are more calm, at peace. So just let it settle more. So we practice by ourselves for a very short time. Just 2 more minutes. Just try to relax. Be aware, awake, If people are mindful, if people are awake and aware, many of these external problems will just go away, or they won't be affected by them. Just know we all carry our weaknesses and strengths. With this clear mind, learn to acknowledge them. Later, you can even, when you practice for a longer time, you can just make space in your mind and observe these events. And with mindfulness, it brings common sense also. Then we know naturally how to act in a specific moment. With that awareness, let us bring this mindfulness. If you want to relax and go to rest or sleep, you can do that. Maybe it's not very late over there, or the rest of the evening. Please take it forward and to the next rest of the week also. And you can gently bring your awareness to your eyes, and you can slowly open your eyes. And if we generate this energy within, it comes outwards. It's like we light up like the bulbs or anything inside the house, right? Surely the light would come through your windows and doors. But if it's dark inside, it won't happen, no? So likewise, but still there's plenty of space and room for external light also to come in. But still, like, we can bring that light within and bring it out also. Then many of these doubts or misidentifications or imaginations or anything can just we would value ourselves more. We will recognize ourselves. We'll be confident. We don't have to doubt our own selves, no? Okay, then. So thank you so much, Simon, for organizing these events. And thank you, Faith, and everybody for participating. And thank you for having me also.
Thank you so much, Sandy. Thank you for that. I had a powerful experience just now. I had a lot. But this meditation really got me. Thank you, Faith, for being part of today.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
And if we
So
can
we need to
do a continuous practice, this makes very powerful. Then people actually they can think like very clearly, and they don't have to just run with the race or the wave that is happening. No, that's why in a way that ancient people they had very clear minds, and they were not manipulated or thrown here and there like nowadays. Okay, then have a wonderful rest of the day, like the rest of the new week. Yeah.
thank you, guys. Have a wonderful.
Okay, I see you.
Bye.